Welcome to episode 4 of the Who and What Movie podcast, the podcast created to share, praise, and love the movies we love, as well as gush about the movie-going experience. Movie theaters for life. That's my new tagline. What do you think of that?
Oh, you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. What do you think of that tagline?
It was pretty good. It was pretty solid.
Okay, I like it a little bit better than what I've been using. Anyways, I am your host, Mark Denny, and I'm here with the amazing, magnificent, the most beautiful man known to Earth, Alex Smith.
Oh,
What's going on, buddy?
It's going good. It's going good.
This is my cousin. He's brilliant. He's a talented actor, and he also will find you an apartment in Austin. So
link in bio.
Listen, bro, go ahead and do your shameless plug. We're gonna do it at the end anyway, so we'll remind them at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, man. So this is an awesome episode because this is a movie that I never thought. This is not a movie I thought I was going to talk about now, right? I thought it was going to be years down the line, and I've been waiting for a guest to say this movie, and obviously I only have 4 so far, but I had a feeling that was going to take a while. But nah. My cousin, he's a brilliant man, and he knows he has great taste. Go ahead and tell him what movie we're talking about today, man.
Today we're talking about Man of Steel.
Man of Steel.
I know that's going to ruffle some people's feathers. I know it's very divisive, but I want to talk about it because it is divisive, I think.
Oh, dude, no question about it. This movie is extremely divisive. Right? There are so many people that do not like this film, man.
But I think that's so fascinating, though. Yeah. Like, I think the culture behind it, like you either love it or hate it, is so fascinating, and like the reasons behind it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And it's incredible how much people still are angry about it. But at the same time, when you look at something like the recent Justice League, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone came out defending Henry Cavill. Like, they were on his side now.
Yeah, he won them over, for
sure.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's problems were, whenever this movie came out, were Henry Cavill. I remember whenever he first got casted, I don't know if you do this whenever you're watching a movie. He was an unknown actor. I think he just did the Tudors, and he was like the Count of Monte Cristo. And I think around the time when he got casted, that movie Immortals was coming out. And so I had no interest in watching it. And I heard he got casted. And I was like, I have to vet this guy, like, Superman's my guy. So I just did research. I watched the movie, and I was like, I don't know, man. Like, so I had yet to have heard him do like an American accent. Like, can he do it? Like, I don't know if he can put on the weight. Like, how does he look in the cape? Like, I can't imagine that pressure of being casted as Superman, because even me in high school was just like sizing him up. So Superman's a big deal. It's definitely not an easy movie to pull off, because I think people, whether they realize it or not, have a connection with him. They identify with him, and I know people say he's boring. I know people say they like Batman more, but he's harder to pull off.
He is harder to pull off. It's similar to the way Marvel had presented Captain America. You have these two symbols that are almost patriotic, even though, one's a super soldier and one's an alien, but they're almost revered as close as like the American flag, man. And there's a tendency with these particular characters, like Superman, to be kind of a square, and to be the Boy Scout, and there's a certain darkness that Man of Steel has brought to the character, and also similar to the way they changed Cap in the MCU with the Winter Soldier. All of a sudden everyone was on his side when they kind of decided to take a little bit of a newer direction, right? A little bit of a darker one, but still maintain the characters.
His intrinsic values.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what made that's what makes these characters so great, and
Yeah.
keeping them grounded and whatnot. And I have to say real quick, you have an extraordinary voice. You should have your own podcast.
Oh, thanks, man.
Dude, I
Thank you.
literally got lost in everything you just said. I was like, wow, he's so good.
Oh, wow. He has no idea what he's talking about, but I'm in it.
But funny thing is though, Henry Cavill apparently auditioned for Superman Returns, right? Is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
he did. He did audition. I think he
So
got it too. Don't
yeah,
quote me on that, but I think he did. And Brett Ratner, someone was supposed to direct it, and then Bryan Singer got the job, and he hired Brandon Routh instead.
wow,
If
that's
I don't
crazy.
know if that, I don't know how true that is, but that's just what I'm based off memory. But he was very close,
Yeah,
essentially.
and and I'm with you. Listen, you and I have had this funny rivalry with Superman and Batman.
Oh,
But
what rivalry?
well, when Batman v Superman was coming out, man, we were going at it. We were dissing each other a lot, and
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'm not gonna lie, Man of Steel changed my perception of the character. And listen, I always put Superman second, right behind Batman. I
Yeah.
just like Batman because not just because he was darker. I think because I was a goody two shoes.
Hmm.
I guess I could relate more to Clark Kent or Superman,
Yeah.
even though you look more like him. But like I could relate more with him because I was such a good kid that with Batman it was like there was a certain darkness to him that I was like, oh, I can never be that dark. And I guess that's
Yeah.
why I guess living through him, I think that's how I became a Batman fan. And not to mention Christian Bale to me, knocked it out of the park. Um,
Yeah, well, he's the James Bond of superheroes, though,
yeah, absolutely.
he has, he's handsome, he's super cool, he's super rich, like he could have anything he wants. Like, what's not, like, why wouldn't you want to be Batman other than, losing your parents?
Yeah, right.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a negative right there. That's so funny
that's
that
his,
you called him the James Bond because technically he is James Bond in like the movies because so
yeah,
many actors have played him.
he is. He's an American James Bond, I think,
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
American culture. Um, but I feel I remember when this movie was getting. I remember so Dark Knight Rises was coming to like a head, it was
Yeah.
coming out in theaters,
Uh,
and I remember I was on my laptop and news broke out that Zack Snyder was doing Superman.
mhm.
I didn't even know who Zack Snyder was. Like, mind you, I wasn't really interested in it as much as this is when I would say this movie was when my love for film developed. And I know people are going to laugh at that, but I followed this film so closely because of my attachment to the character.
Mhm.
And I think that says a lot. Because
Yeah.
I remember even making a Twitter to follow Zack Snyder because he was directing it,
Yeah.
and 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 just watching it that close, like the first still of Henry Cavill in the suit, I was just like, I remember just like being in awe in that, like that. I was like, this is amazing. Like he
That was
looks
the
great.
picture when he's in front of the safe, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
That's exactly it. And like he just looked. I was like, I remember just being amazed, like with the boots and
Mhm.
like his cape just looked so. I was like, this is perfect. Like the visually, it was perfect, and I was just so hyped.
I love
And
the
that
design, dude. The
me
pattern
too,
all over the suit. So
me
awesome.
too.
Yeah.
And I liked their whole reasoning behind like the suit is Kryptonian. Like it wasn't like the clothes that he came because in the comics it's like it's the blanket that his mom wrapped
Yeah.
uh around him in the ship. Well, first off, it's a big blanket to make a full suit.
Yeah.
Uh, but like in the movie, and we see it in the movie whenever it starts off on Krypton, is that Jor-El? It's almost like undergarments. Like it's like
Hmm.
they describe it as like a chainmail type thing.
Yeah.
Like and I guess on Krypton, it was him just wearing the Superman suit is like the equivalent of us just running around in our underwear, essentially.
Yeah.
Like they, in a way, that's what I took from it. So I found that really interesting. But
Yeah. You know, you see Jor-El and he suits up, man. You know, like it goes right on over it, right?
yeah, like, well, like, and everyone on Krypton, whenever you
Yeah.
first join,
Mhm.
like everyone's wearing like
And they all have their symbols, right? Their house
yeah,
symbols, and you know,
their house, their House of L, and then
yeah,
like Zod has his own symbol. So
yeah,
I just found it really, really interesting. But no, dude, I followed this film forever, so I was so hyped for it. So I have a big attachment to this movie, and then uh, actually being able to go to the theaters and sit down and watch it,
yeah, man.
that will always be an experience to remember. I don't know when you saw it, but I saw it like so I this movie I got wind of this in 2010. Um,
Wow, really?
yeah, I followed it for since 2010, and like every bit of news that came out from this movie, like I was just on it, like
Hmm.
people who got cast. I remember when Michael Fishburne got Lawrence Fishburne, I apologize,
Yeah.
um, got cast, and Amy Adams, and then when Amy Adams got cast, that was really important to me. So I
Mm.
had to rewatch like all her movies, like The Fighter and stuff like that. It's amazing.
Oh, she's so good.
She's amazing, but it's amazing how much power this one movie had to make me feel like I had to vet every actor except Lawrence Fishburne. I was like, that's perfect. That's solid
Dude,
casting.
it is extremely solid casting. This movie, I, I watched it before I saw the Zack Snyder's Justice League, but today I actually revisit maybe an hour worth of it, and I was just sitting there looking at the cast. I was like, man, they cast so well. But the thing was, if you think about it, Lawrence Fishburne, that's a big deal. You know, he's not going to
Yeah.
just take on this puny role. So he's a standout in the movie. Like he makes Perry feel so real.
Yeah,
And
he's not like he's not a J. Jonah Jameson. He's like, come on, Kent, let's get to the papers.
yeah, hey man, that was a pretty good Stan Lee impression.
Thanks. That's
but
exactly what it was.
but that's the thing though, is like Amy Adams. They could have cast somebody that was just I don't know how to explain it, but they casted an Oscar worthy actress, somebody
Yeah.
that was actually going to give something to the role, and it was
Mhm.
believable as her playing Lois Lane. And I thought this one, as far as like the relationship between Lois and Clark, this one really shines. Like they did a really nice job of building that relationship.
I like the relationship a lot in this movie,
Yeah.
the most actually, because you
Yes.
get to see the inception of like their instant connection, and seeing it develop throughout the entire. Some people are, I would argue most people are going to say that they kind of, fell in love too fast. I
Hmm.
don't think so. I think I don't know. It seemed natural to me. Like this is the first person that he genuinely got to be himself with
Yeah.
in his entire life.
Oh yeah.
So I think I don't know. For me, it hit pretty real. Um, but I'm digressing.
No
I
problem, man. All right, so
I
let. Oh, go ahead.
no, you go ahead. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
All right, so I guess we can get into. Well, hold on. I didn't even get to share my part of the behind the scenes. Like I didn't know about Man of Steel. I obviously I saw the photo, so
Mhm.
that's probably right around the time I actually got wind of it. But really, it was because of Dark Knight Rises, when they were getting ready to do all the promotion and all that, and it was a big deal that Christopher Nolan was executive producing this Superman movie called Man of Steel. And people were. I remember people were making comments about that because his movies, the Batman movies, were called The Dark Knight, or The Dark Knight Rises. So they were like taking the other moniker of the character and making it the title, right? They could have called it Superman, but they called it Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And so I remember that happening, and I want to say when I went to go see The Dark Knight Rises, they had a trailer ready to go for Man of Steel, like a teaser. And I remember because it's Clark in the water, right? After we finally realize it's the oil rig scene, but he's in the
Yeah.
water, and then he wakes up, and it's literally like, I think they use it like a solemn song. They don't even use like a
Yeah.
heroic song.
It's more somber.
Yeah, and they
It
show him
felt
being a drifter and all that, and it's real quick, and it's just enough to get you like, oh, they're making a Superman movie, and it's directed by Zack Snyder, and Christopher Nolan's producing it. I'm in.
yeah.
You know, I'm in. Even though I wasn't the biggest fan of Superman, I still was like, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. And of course, the lead up, every trailer just got better. And I remember
Yeah.
the last trailer. Was it the last trailer? They teased the Zod frequency. The "you're
Oh,
not alone."
yeah.
Yeah, and
Should we drop now that we're doing spoilers, right?
oh, oh my goodness, 18 minutes in, bro. Uh, yeah, we're totally talking spoilers. I hope you've seen this 2013 film.
This is just
Dude,
one
you were supposed
person
to.
here.
I told you. I said I always forget the spoiler warning.
I had
Remember?
I had I had one job. I was like, don't forget. It's so easy to forget because as soon as that start button starts, you're like, don't look like an idiot. Don't look like an idiot. It's
I feel like that every time I press record. Oh man, yeah. Spoiler warning. Yeah, but so that last trailer, it featured that scene, and then it went into Zimmer's amazing "What Are You Gonna Do
score.
Now"
Yeah.
score, the epic. Da-na-na. You get that taste of the new Superman theme. That,
Yeah.
whew, I was sold. I was so sold, man.
Like, yeah, it's the trumpets. It's the
Oh,
trumpets and the
so
percussion, dude.
beautiful.
It's like, whoo, whoo. This
All right.
song slaps.
Yeah, dude. Seriously. So, okay, let's go ahead and let's talk about the movie, and we'll get into all the other groovy details along the way.
Yeah.
So, this movie starts off. It's already giving you. This is the cool thing about Zack Snyder as far as visuals is concerned. He makes everything feel what the movie's going to feel like. So even the logos look like Krypton,
Yeah.
and look like the suit and all that. And of course, we're witness to Kal-El's birth in the beginning of the movie, and it's another beautiful piece of score music from Zimmer that sets it all up. You're just like
Hmm.
sitting there for the ride. You're like, okay, they're having a baby, and it happens to be the first natural birth on Krypton, right?
Yeah, for centuries.
Yeah. And then Jor-El, I think immediately after that, Jor-El is talking to the council, and talking about allowing him to take control of the Codex. Uh, and then all of a sudden chaos happens because
Yeah,
General Zod comes blasting in.
it's like, someone say Codex.
Don't say Codex.
Don't say Codex on my watch.
Yeah, he comes in, and okay. First off, Michael Shannon as General Zod is epic, epic. He does such a great
he
job. He's
he
underrated in this movie, dude.
he's very underrated. I feel like in general because he really commits. I think so.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he's very scary uh in this movie, and and at the same time you don't even feel like he's the bad guy, but you're like he's not like evil.
Yeah, you're
Like I don't
empathetic.
ever, yeah, I don't ever feel like this guy is evil
Yeah.
at all. I
Yeah,
think he feels like what he's doing is right, and I
it
feel like that.
justifies. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Well, that's what
like
makes a great villain is when they think they're doing the right thing.
yeah, and
You
I
know,
I feel like he owns that.
dude, and I love the respect that he has for Jor-El in that scene.
Yeah,
Even
he's
though they're at odds, they have different ideologies. they still respect one another.
Yeah, they're fundamentally different, but there's a mutual respect there. Even Jor-El had respect for Zod, but
Yeah,
he, by his own admission, but he doesn't have it anymore.
yeah. He tells him, "I will honor the man you once were, Zod, not this
Yeah.
monster that you become." And but I just love those little moments. It makes it that to me that makes it really important as far as storytelling is concerned. And then of course from there, Jor-El, I forget, it's a dragon. I don't know what animal it is. He calls it over.
It's a
Isn't it
dragon.
Helix? Isn't his name
Uh,
Helix or something?
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
So cool. It's like his little dog, man. Uh
Yeah, it is like a dog. I was just, I remember watching it in theaters though. I'm like, man, you guys got like flying cars. I don't know why. This is like the equivalent, I guess, of us just like riding a horse like on the
yeah,
freeway.
yeah. It's a Pegasus. Uh
Yeah,
yeah,
but it looked cool though.
dude, let me tell you, like we'll get into the whole theater thing at the end, but I remember that scene in particular, seeing it in 3D. That was eye popping. Like, I'm not a
So
huge fan of 3D movies, but that particular scene on Krypton was really amazing in 3D.
I've never seen it in 3D, so I can't imagine how this movie would have looked. But I feel like they should have advertised that more, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So Jor-El takes it upon himself, and he goes and steals the codex. It doesn't matter anymore, right? He tell. Oh, isn't he? Oh, you know what? I'm getting the name wrong. I think Helix is actually the little voice bot
Yeah,
that
it's like the computer,
yeah, the
Helix.
computer. But anyway, sorry. They steals the codex and takes it back because they're gonna launch, right? They're gonna send Kal-El to Earth. And what I love is that they actually know. They talk about Earth and they talk about how he his cells are gonna soak up the sun and that
Yeah,
he'll be a god to them.
yeah.
You
They're
know,
not just like taking a shot in the dark. They're like,
yeah,
yeah, this is the safest place for him.
yeah. And let me say, man, Russell Crowe he is such a great actor. I love him as Jor-El.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like in this movie specifically, like even in the Dick Donner version, and another great actor played Jor-El.
Mhm.
Um, just just some indie actor just played Jor-El. uh, 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 you never got that connection uh for his love for the son. It felt very he came across very logical in
Mhm.
the Dick Donner version,
Yeah.
like Kal-El, you will save them, you will fly. In this one, he's like, and I know a lot of people don't like the compare or the the messiah sort of symbolism here, but it feels very intimate. Like it
Mhm.
doesn't feel like it's trying to be like this Christian analog, at least in this scene.
Yeah.
It's just a father that just loves his newborn and just wants to do what every father would like to do
Yeah.
for their child, which is to give
Rescue.
them every chance.
Yeah.
I
For
just want
possible
to give you a
survival.
chance.
Yeah. Absolutely. You do feel the love, and even we'll get to those scenes in a little bit, but even later on when he appears on the ship, not as obviously not alive, it, you still feel the love.
Yeah,
And I think that was the thing with Russell, is that he really genuinely played it as a father. Like
yeah,
it was just genuine. Like I just feel it every time he's on screen, and so did Kevin Costner. Like both of those, like that's what I love the most about this film is the fathers
yeah.
in this movie. Like it's amazing. I'm a sucker for those strong relationships, man. Like father son, brothers, best friends. Like
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for a good relationship story, and yeah, the
And
father thing.
but they're completely different though too.
Yes, yeah, yep. They would be at odds. Like they'd be like General
Yeah.
Zod versus Jor-El.
I think I think they have the same goal for their son, but their
Absolutely.
methods of going across is completely different. So you kind of see Clark have this wrestling with this ideology
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you do see that tender moment where he like puts him in the ship, and like Russell Crowe owns it,
Mhm.
and 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 again, Zod just booms in.
Oh, I know, man. He comes in and he interrupts, and let me tell you, man, I love this fight. I have to watch this fight every single time because Russell Crowe throws in a little bit of Cinderella Man in there and does a
Oh, he
double jab,
does
bro.
for sure. I didn't trade 8 months for this movie for nothing.
Dude, I love when he double taps Zod in the face. For some reason it's so quick, like it's a blink and
Like,
miss.
whoa, you're a scientist. Where did this come from?
Listen, scientists,
This,
it's not all about numbers and formulas, man.
Jarrell just joined a boxing club.
He needed
Just
a hobby. He needed a
the,
hobby, man.
he was good. Like Zod was even shocked. He was like, "What the
He's like, where did you learn that from? You weren't.
heck?" He's the cadet that told me this guy was a scientist. This is
Oh,
supposed to be a
man.
snatch and grab.
Yes, man. General Zod has very little luck when it comes to confronting Kal-El's parents. That's for sure.
I'd be frustrated too, but yo, I'm a general.
But he gets his revenge, man. He tells Laura, "Don't do it." She launches the ship, and he stabs Jor-El. And
Yeah,
oh,
it was someone say that was a cheap move. That was a
it
cheap move.
definitely was. And you see Russell's eyes. He's looking as he's gonna die happy because the ship is going off, right? His son.
Yeah, you can really tell in Russell's eyes, like he already won in that moment. He's like,
Yeah,
"You're too late.
yeah,
You're too
exactly.
late."
And then Zod tries to shoot it down one more time, but they're ultimately captured. All of General Zod and his men and women in this attempt to
This
take
coup,
control, right?
this
And
coup
so
of Krypton.
now it's so funny when they do get captured. Um, Not that I want to specify what the shape of the.
Why is it funny, Mark?
I don't want to specify the shape
You
that
already brought it up.
but
I'm lost.
listen,
Why?
I'm just saying that the little containers that they get imprisoned in on their way up,
What do they
uh,
look like?
they just have an odd shape to them. All right,
Describe. Do tell.
I
Is it
can't
a
describe them.
rectangle?
All I know is that it's something that I notice every single time.
Your job's in your hands right now, Mark.
Wow. So yeah. Anyway, so they're imprisoned.
Moving along. To be honest, I know you don't want to spend too much time on the subject. In the movie theater, I had no idea. Like I was like, I didn't even catch that until like fairly recently. I was like,
Dude,
oh, oh.
what does that say about me? What does that say about me? I was instant in the movie theater, bro. Like,
I felt I was so ignorant. I was like,
but you know what? Someone did. You know what happened though? I think why I noticed it in the theater is someone actually. I think I read an article where they were saying Zack Snyder's fascination with the male part, and because they were referencing Watchmen and they were referencing a couple other things in his films, and so yeah, not that I want to spend time on this part, but that I think that's probably why I noticed it
I
upon
think I
first
didn't want to
watch.
spend the rest of the podcast right here. Right.
I mean, you go
Right.
ahead, man. I'm gonna just count the seconds.
Like, you know what? It's gonna end right now.
Yeah, you know what? That's great. Thank you, Alex Smith. We'll see you never again.
But
So thankfully, though, after their imprisonment, Kal-El makes it to Earth. But
yes,
instead of going straight into childhood, as soon as he crashes, it's him as an adult on the fishing boat, and it shows that automatically he's a drifter. Like they go straight into that storyline that he's just out there. He's a nobody. He's taking odd jobs here and there.
Yeah.
This is also when we get one of the many examples of him being heroic, which was saving the men on the oil rig. Right, it just takes place in the same sequence, or
Can
the same sea.
yeah. Well, it's funny that because whenever I saw it, I I was kind of halfway expecting not to see him grow up,
Hmm. Yeah.
like to get his backstory. Because I'm not sure if you read the comics, but like that, it's like from Superman Birthright is what I was thinking. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And you just see like the spaceship, like just panel by panel, and then it like cuts to Earth. And then the comic panel in Superman Birthright, the spaceship transitions into a bullet and he catches it, and Clark's already an adult, like saving someone's
Oh,
life. And in this movie, he's an adult, and instead of like the spaceship transitioning into a bullet, like something happens and he has to save someone's life. And I was like, I was so excited when I saw that. I was like, oh
yeah.
my God, they did it. They did it.
Yeah,
So,
man. And I think
uh,
at that in that point too, I think they made that conscientious decision because Smallville just ended, I think, right? Isn't that what happened? Smallville
yeah,
was wrapped up.
Smallville ended in like 2011,
Yeah,
2010.
so it was all about him and his younger years and all that. So I think that's why they were like, you know what? We'll flash back to it, but let's just have him be an adult.
Yeah, and I mean it's also an origin you already know. Everyone knows.
Yeah.
Like everyone knows. So yeah, I I think they kind of went they tried to do something that you know that it hasn't really been done before. Like we
Mhm.
spent the most time we've ever had in any Superman movie, like on Krypton, and Krypton looks uniquely different. Like it's
Oh,
not this
yeah.
Antarctic frozen fortress everywhere. Like it's not
Mhm.
like no one's wearing like these white cloaks
Yeah, exactly.
and
They do
fogs
have
everywhere.
unique costumes, but yeah, they're not in their little cloaks.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. I do appreciate that about this movie.
Yeah,
And it's
and
like,
then
yeah,
I
it's
think they
different.
did just enough, like a tasteful amount, as far as the flashbacks to his childhood.
Yeah,
They were they were all lessons,
yeah.
because the first flashback that we get is he's really young and he starts seeing stuff, like he can see through. He starts having his see-through vision, like he can see inside people's bodies, their heartbeats, and
Hmm.
I
His
forget.
see-through vision. What's
I
this
lost the
now?
word, man. I
This is
lost
my
the word.
see-through vision.
See-through vision. All right, you can see through you, bro.
Superman just skipped primary school. It's X-rays, dude.
Thank you. Sorry, I just lost the word, man. X-ray vision, and he runs to the little closet, and
Get it
what I love.
right.
What?
Get it right, Mark.
Whoa,
We're gonna do
whoa!
this. We do it right.
Lock it up, bro. Lock it up. But like, I think this is a nice tender moment because the movie is spent a lot of time with Cal and his father's perspectives.
Mm,
It's nice to have a moment with mom, right? Martha.
yeah,
And that moment when he's a little kid, Martha comes to his rescue and says, "Pretend it's an island," and it's such a sweet moment, for that type of relationship too. It
yeah.
establishes that
His
and what it
connection
grows
with his
into.
mom,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
she knew exactly what to say in the moment, like as any mother would. Like
Yeah,
mom knows her son.
yeah.
I I think that was a really sweet moment too. I remember like tearing up a couple of times in this movie just because like a lot of people would say Superman's unrelatable, but like it's
Mhm.
moments like this where you're just like that's totally relatable. Like
Yeah,
being frustrated and just being talked off the ledge by your mom,
yeah,
like that hits.
yeah. And I
Um,
think that's the best part about this movie is that Zack Snyder really dug into the idea of what am I, who am I, why am I here, what's my purpose. Like everything, I feel like it was calculated to make Superman so much more relatable than he what he was.
Yeah, well, I mean, and he didn't make him relatable, and I feel like the easier solution that most people would have done is just to power him down.
Right,
And
exactly.
Zack Snyder powered him up. Like
Oh,
this is the
yeah,
strongest we've ever seen him,
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
ever.
Yeah.
But his problems are real. Like like his problems are very human,
Hmm.
and he deals with them in a very human way. Like he's not perfect,
Oh,
which people don't like. Um,
hmm.
but I I appreciate it.
I
Um,
loved it. I really dug how much they incorporated that into the character. I really did. Um, a couple other flashbacks. I just want to get some of the flashbacks out of the way. There's one I'm going to save, but one of the flashbacks is shows him getting bullied. I remember that he gets bullied, pulled out of the truck, right, and he
oh, when
could,
he in Smallville.
yeah, in Smallville, and he could have hit the kid, but chose not to, and and then that Paul Kent gives him that great speech about, part of me wanted you to, but then what? You
Yeah,
know.
I mean that's another great moment.
Hmm.
I feel like that really hit too because I feel
Yeah.
like this movie commentates in more ways than one on
Hmm.
how Superman needs a unique parenting style.
Yeah.
Eh, Like you ask almost any parent in real life, like if someone hits you, you defend yourself.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
exactly right.
Hmm.
Like no one's gonna mess with you. Like I don't want you to get hurt. I feel like most parents' reactions. Like you defend yourself, and
Hmm.
his whole thing is like, and I guess what Jonathan Kent's really trying to address to him is like, you know, you defend yourself, and and people could die.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and not only that, you'll be exposed. You're like everything could go super downhill. Like he's teaching a teenager
Yeah.
foresight, like to think
Absolutely.
ahead,
You have all
which
this
is
power. You have all this power, but it doesn't mean you have to use it. It's kind of like the speech that they give you when you learn Taekwondo, or karate. They always tell you you have all these techniques and skills, but it doesn't mean you have to use it.
but what are the belts for?
You clearly did not learn anything.
Right.
And the other important flashback, well, there's two, but I'm going to save, like I said. The other flashback is when he has to save the kids on the bus.
Yeah,
And that was a heartbreaking scene because, well, there's two reasons why that's a heartbreaking scene. Paul Kent, confronts him and tells him, or no, Clark says, "You want me to just let everyone die?" And he goes, "Maybe." You
yeah.
know, he valued his son so much, and didn't want to risk him becoming a government experiment. I think that's part of the thing. I think he really felt like if someone found out about him, it's a disaster, right?
I feel like people twist that line. Like people don't like that line when
Right.
he asks his dad that. People are like, "Man, Jonathan Kent's such a bummer, dude." Like like Jonathan Kent just doesn't care.
Let the
Doesn't
people
care about.
die.
Let him die. I don't know.
Man, imagine a
Whatever.
darker version of Pa Kent, like this summer, Pa Kent murders everyone.
I don't
Like,
care. Save him. Don't save him. I don't care. I no. I think I think they're just twisting it wrong. Like
yeah.
the whole context of this world is real.
Hmm.
Like it's taking place in a real life setting.
Right.
Jonathan Kent doesn't want kids to die. Like I did not think that at all when he said
No,
that.
no, no,
But
no.
like you said, he's just like I don't know because you do something, anything that's even a little bit different, and it you're I don't want to take away any normalcy that you can have. Like he's doing what every father should do, which is
Right.
just giving him every chance. Like
Right.
the same way that Jarrell did for him. Like he
Right.
just wants him to have a life. And if he wants to expose his powers, because he even says it, when you grow up, you're going to change the world.
Yeah.
And I remember, and he knows like he's not going to be a secret forever. How could he?
Hmm.
But that has to be your choice. You're just a kid now. You shouldn't have to make these decisions.
Right.
Like that's exactly what he's doing as a father, what any responsible father should do. You shouldn't, people's lives shouldn't be in your hand.
Yeah.
That's not fair of me to ask you that. I think it would be more sociopathic of Jonathan Kent to say, you should save everyone. Like to
Yeah.
a teenager. Like that's not fair.
No,
Like
yeah,
that's
that's
not
a lot to
cool.
ask, and I think
Yeah.
that's the interesting thing as well, because a little more into that sequence, he shows him the ship that he crashed in, and tells him, you're the answer, son. You're the answer to are we alone in the universe? And Clark says, "Can I just be your son?" And he goes, "You are my son."
Oh,
And,
he delivers that line so
oh,
well.
yeah, because
I
he
know.
hugs him. You are my son. Like, oh, it's so heartbreaking because Jonathan Kent loves his son, regardless of the fact that he's an alien or adopted. Like he genuinely loves him.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Jor-El. Even though Jor-El didn't have as much time with him, like I said, the father stuff in here is so good. But in that moment, that's why he's doing what he's doing with his son and protecting him as much as possible, because you are my son. I just want the best for you, and I want you to make the decision, not the world to make the decision,
Yeah.
right? And
It has to be your choice.
yeah,
That's the whole motif in this movie is choice.
yeah,
Like the
absolutely,
whole reason Jor-El steals the codex is because he believes that his son should have the right to choose.
right.
And and Jonathan Kent is trying to instill the right of choice. That's the whole reason what makes Superman Superman.
Mm,
No one had to, his parents didn't have to get murdered in front of him or him suffer psychological damages or his uncle Ben to get shot in front of him when he's trying to win a wrestling match. He
yeah,
does the right thing because he chooses to do the right thing.
yeah,
You know, that's it. That's the whole motif. That's instilled in you from the beginning. That's the whole symbolism behind the codex.
right.
It is, because the whole thing behind the Krypton codex thing is that they're given job. It's almost like a beehive, right? Like
Hmm.
they're given jobs from birth.
Yeah.
Like, like
Yeah.
I just love that idea behind it.
And then
Is
the
that
bloodlines, right? Because Jor-El makes a comment, who decides what bloodlines stay alive?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
Yeah.
his whole idea was just from the get go was to let Clark Kal-El choose who he wants to be, and that's exactly in this scene. You're seeing a resemblance of what Jonathan wants for his son. Like
Hmm.
you should just when you grow up, you choose. Good, bad, in between. You get to decide. But you do this now, and the world finds out it chose for you.
Right.
And so I
Man,
I love that scene a lot.
dude, that was brilliant. I love that. Um, wow. So now we're in a place where we talked about the flashbacks, but Cal, listen, man, I've always missed his cameo until recently. Actually, when Lois Lane arrives, where is it? They found a ship buried in the
Yeah,
ice.
it's like it. I don't. I want to say Antarctica, but I feel like that's like stereotypical. If it's Antarctica, maybe it's like
Yeah,
Greenland.
yeah, something like that. And but for some reason it's taking me this long to realize that she talks to Cal there right then and there.
Yeah,
You
he's the
know,
one that lifts
yeah,
her up.
yeah. For some reason, I've always missed it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And it's a cute little moment because she goes, "Those are heavy," and he's like, they're like nothing to him.
And he tries to correct himself in him, like he doesn't know that they're supposed to be heavy, and then she
Yeah.
says it, and he's like, oh, maybe I should. It's subtle, but he's like, maybe I should act like I'm struggling a little bit more.
Exactly. And so this is an important scene because Cal goes and looking for the ship. Now I got to say something though real quick though. There is a little scene or a little part in the sequence that always bothers me, is the fact that how does Lois see Clark She uses the camera, takes a picture, zooms in, and she goes, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "How did you see that?" Um,
That's 4K, baby.
that one that always gets me. Like, how? Come on, that's a bigger,
How?
that's a stretch. But still, he goes, and you also get to see that he's kind of comfortable using his laser vision, his laser beams.
Yeah, you're like, okay, like that's another power that you don't know how experienced he is at this point. You're like, what
Exactly.
does he know? What doesn't he know? We don't
Exactly.
even know if he can fly yet, technically. I guess we
True.
don't.
No,
I guess
yeah,
we do know that he can't fly
yeah,
because
because of history.
no, I like because on the oil rig because he doesn't exactly like he doesn't fly there. He's just kind of standing
Oh,
and
right,
all that
right.
stuff.
Yeah,
So
and so yeah, we haven't got to his awesome flight sequence yet, but he goes on the ship. He has a key with him, and it unlocks something in the mainframe, which is his father Jor-El.
yeah,
And at this moment, he doesn't get to talk to him too much. He gets a brief preview of like a shadow, but then Lois follows him in, of course, and she gets attacked, and he has to save her. And this was, I thought this was a nice meet cute. You know, like this is gonna hurt, and he uses his lasers and heals her. But this also fuels her storyline, which is the search for this mysterious man, this mysterious figure who
yeah.
happens to
This
be not
handsome
bad looking.
man.
This handsome man
This-
that's gorgeous, you know?
She's like, what?
I mean, it's pretty much like your doppelganger, so.
So nice,
You
man.
know, I really treat my guests right. You know, the last episode I called David handsome, so
It's funny because you'll insult me and then like you'll just call me Henry Cavill. Like
I gotta,
you'll insult me with a smile too. And I'm like, is he kidding? Is he not kidding? You're just like waiting to see what I'll do. So,
I gotta clip the wings a little bit. You know, I gotta let you fly, and then I gotta take some of it away.
you just keep me off balance, dude. It's like mental gymnastics. Like,
At least it's not
this guy
abuse. At least it's not verbal abuse.
that is all right. Okay. Let's
I'm
just
gonna
do
edit
this.
that part out. I'm gonna edit that part
Let's just do this thing, man.
out. Okay, so Cal takes the ship, and then he gets an explanation, really, which I loved. I love that his background. Of course, it's been a mystery to him all his life, but the fact that Jor-El has put himself inside the mainframe to allow his son to at least see him and to have it explained to him, I thought this is awesome. Like this is really cool, and
Yeah.
of course gives Russell Crowe more time on screen because who's going to be disappointed to see Russell Crowe on screen?
Yeah.
You know, and so it was really cool. And then he learns his name right then and there, right? Because he's just known himself as Clark. And Jor-El says, "You're Cal," and he goes, "That's my name." Like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
That's a very fascinating moment. It's like, wow, he never really he did heard anything remotely the closest thing he's had to his heritage is the ship and
yeah,
this necklace, this key,
hmm,
this, alien USB just wrapped around pretty much is what it is, right? It's a USB.
yeah, absolutely. And
uh,
it's a cool scene that tells you about Krypton and how it got destroyed. It's things that we already knew as an audience, but it also builds up to the first flight sequence, man. And
there is one thing I actually don't like about that sequence.
tell me,
I don't like I never really liked this, and I don't know what it is. I think it's because it just seems so out of the blue. And I remember even watching it in theaters, it took me out. Is that
mhm,
his suit is just given to him. Like
fair enough.
and
Yeah,
it's so distinct too, Like it'd be different if we were on Krypton. And this is just a minor nitpick.
yeah,
Like, you could take it or leave it.
right.
But I don't I'm not a big fan of that. Like on Krypton, like all their suits are kind of muted. They're like monochromatic, and his are very
Right.
Very primary colors.
Right. Fair
So
enough. Oh well, I didn't catch that. The thing for me about this particular scene, as much as I enjoyed the flight sequence, and we'll get into it, it's how does he make that leap that he could possibly fly? Because we haven't established anything that he could fly, right? All of a
yeah,
sudden, he leaves the ship and he goes, "I'm gonna try to fly." Like,
exactly.
your dad didn't say
I
anything about flying.
like whoa. I think like that's not. It's funny you say that because I never thought about that. Like as soon as he got out of the ship and he just attempted to fly, my brain just went like, yeah, he's Superman. Why wouldn't he fly? Like of course he's gonna freaking fly. So no, I've
Yeah,
never actually thought about that.
yeah, that's the only time I've ever been like, "Wow, that's a big leap." I
Yeah,
and
that's a skip the wall.
maybe if they would have like flashed back to him like as a kid doing like a long jump,
Yeah,
that would have established it. But that for me, I always catch that every time he does it. I'm like, okay, I don't know how you made that choice, but I'm
that's a
happy with
big
the results because
yeah,
man, he takes off.
that's a big guess. That's a lucky guess.
Yeah, yeah. We're
Yeah.
are we playing Mad Libs?
He's, I'm glad he should just be a gambler, man.
Just take the chance, man. I
Just
got a
take the
cape.
chance.
I got a cape. That means I can
You see
fly.
the cape? Means I can fly. I'm not a running superhero. I'm a flying superhero.
Imagine if he set up for his flight and nothing happened.
I'm like, oh wow, I guess I can't do that.
Literally
All
just
right.
goes, "Whoop, nope. I guess I can't fly."
Because it's like in Jordel's speech, he's like, you always have to test your limits. And he just jumps, and it's just like, I guess I'm not a flyer.
Yeah. But and what I like too afterwards is that he picks it up rather quickly, but they do have him stumble, right? They and then have that great speech, that will stumble behind you, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
They'll join you in the sun. But the fact that he fails first, like he flies and then falls, and then he goes again,
yeah,
and even the second time he goes, he's like trying to figure it out. But then eventually, of
yeah.
course, he's Superman, and he's got the
Well,
epic score.
yeah. I mean, like that scene. That scene's probably one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie.
It's so much fun because he's
The flight
laughing
scene.
too.
Yeah, I was
He's
just
so
about to say
happy.
he's happy. You actually see Superman like just that's a normal reaction. That's a
Yeah.
very human reaction. Just like, oh wow, this is cool. Like I can do anything.
See, and I think that people gripe about Cavill's performance, or they used to. Now they want him to be Superman, but they griped about his performance because it was too dark. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, this is a guy that's confused about life, trying to figure out his place in it. He's
Hmm.
smiling when he's flying the first time, and he's dealing with aliens that he doesn't trust. Like, there's no reason
This
for him to be all happy the entire movie.
well, this is also like a first day on the job. Like
Yeah.
this is training day with Superman. Like,
Yes.
like he just got his suit and aliens are invading the planet.
Yeah.
And they're not only aliens, they're aliens that can do exactly what he can do. Like,
Yeah.
like yo, this is the chips are down.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
And the
oh.
only difference is Cal grew up there, so
Yeah,
they're not used to the environment, which he uses to his advantage later on.
yeah,
Um, so then Lois Lane does eventually find out how to at least get his attention, right? And is able to locate him again by visiting his mother, right?
yeah.
Martha, and
Martha,
and
Martha, Martha,
so
Martha.
this is when we get to one of my favorite scenes, my favorite flashback. I ain't gonna lie, man. This particular tornado sequence, I remember in the theater, people were mad, people were upset,
Yeah,
because in the comics, Jonathan does not die by a tornado, right?
he dies by a heart attack.
He dies by a
Eh,
heart attack, but the thing for me was that it it established. Yes, of course, if he died from a heart attack, it would have established that Clark can't save everyone. But
yeah,
since he was trying to keep his powers a secret, this scene was really important for Jonathan to tell his son, "You can't save everyone, and
yeah,
I'm gonna risk. I'm gonna sacrifice my life to protect your secret because I love you that much. And this thing breaks me every time Kevin Costner raises his hand and shakes his head. Oh, I lose it, man. I'm just thinking
I
about it right
mean,
now, dude. My eyes are watering. And Clark,
it's incredibly sad.
oh
Like I love the scene as well, because I understand. I I feel like purists didn't like it for that exact reason, because it's like it's not a heart attack, you know,
yeah,
like that whole mechanism of him dying by a heart attack, as you already said, is like, oh, Superman can't save everyone. Like, of all the things he can do, he can't. He's not God.
right,
And the motif in this movie, in this interpretation, is choice.
yeah,
You have to choose, you know, what you want to be. And the same reason that he said you can't save those kids, or maybe you shouldn't have saved those kids, because if you do, the risk of your choice being taken away from you is gone. He
hmm,
died the same for the same cause that Jarrell did.
yeah,
Like like that I that is impactful.
yeah,
Like like man, like, I don't know. There's a lot of burden on this one person
yeah,
to be able to choose on who he wants to be from his parents. They have that much respect and love for him.
hmm,
Um,
absolutely,
so no, I agree. I think it's a very strong choice.
absolutely.
Not to, so
Yeah, and then Henry gives out that really great dad,
yeah.
and his eyes are all water, and you're just like, "Whoa, I am a slobbering mess." And the fact that, okay, listen, they added more emotion to it because what did Jonathan Kent do? He went to go not just help people. What did he do most importantly? He
You saved the
saved
dog.
the dog.
You saved the
Exactly.
dog.
Saved the dog. It's like John Wick should have shook his hand, you know?
It's like John Wick got up in the audience and just applauded right there. That's my man.
Yeah, it was such a heartbreaking scene, and like I said, to this day, it's one of those scenes that, a lot of people have those scenes that make them cry. And that scene, no matter how many times I've seen this movie, I can't help but cry every single time. I don't know why. It's very few movies like that for me, other than like the one and dones, right? Like if I were to watch 12 Years a Slave again, I know I would lose it because that movie, oof. But I only watched it once. But like this
Yeah.
one, something I see all the time. It's like I cry every time that scene comes on. And yeah, man, it's really emotional and impactful, and I think it really establishes the rest of the story too. Because I mean, of course, from that point on, it's really people's anger about what happens next anyway. That
Hmm.
Clark's choices and whatnot. Well, he doesn't have time to really make decisions when he's getting pounded in the face by these superpowered
Well,
aliens.
I think it's also this is the real world.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like what would happen if super powered gods went at it out of town? And a lot of stuff is going to blow up. Like,
yeah. Oh man, does Zack Snyder have fun with that? But this harkens back to what I mentioned about the trailer. We get the awesome Clark heads back home, tells Martha about Lois, that she's a friend, don't worry about her, and that he's found his parents. And immediately after, General Zod's message goes around the world. That you are not alone, and it does it in every different language.
yeah.
And he gives this thread of 24 hours. You have 24 hours.
You have
Um,
24 hours.
yeah. Oh, I love it. They
Tú
did such a great
sabes
job.
25 horas. Just
Dude, I love it, man. I love that scene. It's eerie because they choose to make it.
well, he's doing it in every language, right? Like
Yeah,
Ripley's like in Australia is like, Yeah, 24 hours, mate. He's like trying to connect everyone.
Yeah, you're right. They should have just done a bunch of different accents too. That would have been
I'm from
classic.
down under. I'm one of you. I'm one of you guys.
Have you ever heard of Chris Hemsworth?
You ever heard of Chris Hemsworth? I'm looking for that mate too. Sorry.
Man,
People are
it's
like,
such a
that's a horrible
great,
accent. Don't ever
it's a
do it
great
again.
eerie moment in the movie, and of course, choice again, right? Clark has to make a decision. Do
Yeah.
I surrender or do I not? Right?
Yeah. This is, it's kind of up to him. And it's also up to Lois, which is kind of cool because she's the only person that the public know that this guy exists. They're like,
Yeah.
so they're going after her.
Yeah.
She's,
Yeah, and then
yeah,
of course Clark eventually decides. Well, he actually has a really nice moment with the priest, right? He goes
yeah.
and tells him, but I don't think Zod can be trusted. But I should,
Well, yeah. I like that scene a lot.
yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off, but
No,
that
no,
scene's
you're
very,
good.
very good.
Please.
I think people have trouble with this movie for another reason because of the messiah like connections. Because Zack Snyder doesn't even shy away from it, which unapologetically so. Like,
Mhm.
because even in that shot in the church, like, like Jesus, there's a stained glass
Yeah,
in the background, and he's like in the limelight, and you're like, oh wow, and he's talking to this preacher. But I
yeah,
mean, that happens in the comics though too. Like, I think it's like Superman, Man of Tomorrow. Like, the whole issue is him just talking to this
yeah.
priest about like him just trying to figure out what's right. And
Well, and it goes along the lines of what would you if we saw Superman in our world, how would we view him? He's
mhm.
flying. He is, powerful. Like, of course, we're gonna kind of view him in a more messiah way. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like there's no way around it. Like, I don't think their initial reaction would be like, "Oh, he's an alien."
yeah.
No.
It, yeah, I don't think so either. I think
Yeah.
we will have people like that. But like I think something that Zack Snyder touches on is that you're gonna have like, and not so much in this movie, more in like his sequels, like you're gonna have extremists on either
Of
sides
course. Yes.
that worship him as like a god,
Hmm.
or like, you know, or afraid of him.
Right.
Um,
Well,
and
and it's
I
like with
just,
everything, right? There's always two extremes. There's positive and negative for every single thing that we do. There's a positive outcome and a negative outcome. There's two sides
yeah,
of every coin, and so, however, some group would view Superman, it's different from others, and that's fair to say. Everyone
yeah.
has their own opinion, man. Like just like Man of Steel, man, we love it, but people hate it.
And I understand why people do, and
Yeah,
like,
of course.
don't get me wrong, he's not he's not your comic book Superman,
Right.
like he's not the Boy Scout,
But you
but
gotta
he's not.
understand though, like this was like after the Dark Knight trilogy, we reinvented Batman. Let's reinvent Superman.
The thing is, people use that argument of they made Superman darker. I don't think he's darker. I think he's just in.
Real world.
It's not. Yeah, he's in the real world. He's making. He's not like, specifically in this movie, he's not depressed. He's
No.
not like sad. He's just lost. Like,
Yeah.
that's different. He's not like out for vengeance. He's just questioning, like, what do I do? Because if
Yeah.
I make, like, I feel that's his whole journey, is like it's this culture versus home
Hmm.
type journey.
Yeah. And
And
what do you do when you're lost? You don't know your heritage, and okay, now something's happening. There's aliens from my home world. I just learned who I am. I just learned how to fly. Now what do I
now what
do?
do I do? I
Yeah.
just met a girl. I that relationship could go either way.
It's looking more positive. I think she's been
It's
eyeing
looking
me.
like, I think she kind of digs it.
She's not afraid of me, so
I
hey.
can't make heads or tails of that one, but I'm still waiting.
So
If that's what he was just talking about when he was talking to the preacher, like, I just met this really cool girl,
I
and
have a great mom.
I
You
have
know
a
what I
great mom.
noticed though? Do you notice in that scene when he tells his mom that I found my family?
Mm-hmm.
She tries to play it off, goes, I wish your father was here. But I kind of think the way I think she plays that particular moment is that she is a little heartbroken. She's happy that Cal found his heritage, but I think the way he worded it made it seem like whatever her and Jonathan had done all those years didn't mean something. You know what I mean? Do you ever see that
Yeah,
in her
no, I
face?
know that was, I think that was the intent. Honestly, that's
Yeah,
what I got from it too. I mean, what mother wouldn't kind of be a little heartbroken that I wouldn't say heartbroken, just more scared. Like,
yeah,
are you gonna start calling, mine no longer your mom and dad? I'm sure
yeah,
she had a ton of irrational thoughts,
yeah,
but he's very reassuring with her, and I love the relationship. I love Henry Cavill and Diane Lane's like their chemistry.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, definitely.
so
Okay, let's see here. Wow, we're an hour in. Let's so Cal surrenders himself to the government and we get that awesome, what's the S on your chest? You know.
yeah,
It's not an S. On my planet, it stands for hope. And so then General Zod's coming, right? He's coming down from space. He's here for Clark, and
yeah.
Clark is trying to reassure the general, who ends up becoming Martian Manhunter, I guess. Um,
He always was Martian Manhunter.
yes, but they don't hint at it in this movie. That was just a happy accident. Um, but yeah, so Zod comes and says, "Well."
I bet Martian Manhunter got really scared when he saw the television of like, there's a stranger on your planet. He's like, oh no, they're coming for me.
That's
There's this
it.
other
They
alien.
finally figured it out.
He was like, oh, it's this guy. All right, I'm sorry. It's either you or me.
Yeah, man. And I forget Zod's his main chick. What's her name? Do you know?
Feora.
Feora. Thank you. She comes down and she does some great stuff after this scene, demanding Lois Lane to come with Clark onto the
Hmm.
ship, right? And Clark, of course, is not used to, I guess,
It's their atmospheric
there.
pressure. Like it's
Yeah,
different.
okay. Because I got a little confused. Well, actually, just thinking about it right now, Clark was able to handle the ship that was, in the iceberg.
Yeah,
Um,
but it's not like they adjust settings to it though. Like
oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Yes, because Jor-El adjusts the settings on
yeah.
their ship. You're right. You're right. Sorry. Um, but yeah, and so he can't stand it, and then we get the cool nightmarish sequence where we find out Zod's real plan.
Hmm.
And it's really cool. Well, okay, what Zod's plan is not cool, but it's a cool scene
It's a
where
pretty cool plan.
I'm all
Just
for it.
invest it.
I'm voting for him as our next president.
It's a new land developer real estate plan.
Yes, it involves a lot of
Terraform
skulls.
everything.
It's like Terminator esque,
You're
but
gonna love it.
but it is a cool scene when Clark is getting sucked in and he's saying Zod no, Zod no. It's a really cool
Yeah,
moment
I remember. I
visually.
remember. Yeah, it is very cool visually. It's a little dark for a Superman film,
Yeah,
but it's very cool visually. It's like I thought it was cool as
absolutely.
well.
Yeah, man. And from there, I mean, honestly, the rest of the movie it's battles essentially. Yeah, there's little moments here and there. It's essentially just a big giant action, action,
Well,
action, action.
I feel like we're skipping a big part here because
We
it's after that Zod. I mean, after that nightmare sequence, like he gets free and he has this final last conversation with Jor-El, which to
oh
me
yes, yes, you're right,
that's
you're
what
right.
that's one of my favorite scenes too.
Dude, bring it, talk
Um,
about it, man.
because like it's finally. I I feel like whenever you initially hear it, it's like, yes, someone's finally telling him to like, you know, made a decision for him.
Mm,
But it's kind of like just him, just kind of. I feel like reiterating what Clark already knows what he wants to do is that you can save all of them. You could do this. It's just your father just telling you like, you can win. Like you are like it's
yeah,
just a pat in the back. Like it's not it's you're grown up enough now.
yeah,
It's not, you know, you can make the choice is what it feels like. And
yeah.
that's when it finally just kickstarts to that like the rest of the movie is like a showdown.
Well,
But
see,
I
now
just
you just reminded me of other stuff that I wanted to talk about in that scene. First
mhm,
off, after he gets his speech, they do uh, um, the godlike.
the
Uh,
crucifixion pose.
yes, thank you. I was trying to find the words of Superman before he goes and saves Lois. But one of the things I actually really loved about that scene, other than that talk they have, is how much Jor-El helps Lois Lane.
Lois, yeah.
Yeah, that's such a. I love that scene. Hey, you're technically meeting your daughter-in-law, your future
In a
daughter.
way, yeah. That's not something you see in any other Superman movies,
Yeah,
really.
I really
You know,
enjoyed that. I really did. It was a nice touch, and the fact that
yeah.
he knew, obviously, he's part of the matrix of the ship, so he knows when things are happening. He's like, tilt your head to the left, like
Hmm.
or to the right. I can't remember now, but I just like that little moment where he was helping Lois Lane. I thought that was really good, and then of course, as she's escaping, one of the Kryptonians punched a hole in it, so she's going down rapid descent. Jor-El says, "You can save them all," and then of course Clark goes and flies to save
Yeah.
Lois. Yeah,
They both know this is their final goodbye, and he
yeah,
gets to say goodbye to his son now as a
yeah,
man.
yeah,
You know, like that's really cool. I think that's why it hits really hard because, like, even though Clark didn't know it, I feel like because Jarrell, even though Jarrell's not, detached from destroyed from the ship or anything like that yet, like I feel like he kind of knows. Like
yeah,
this is the last time we're gonna talk.
yeah,
And so I don't know, that just really hits different. Like it feels like a redo
yeah.
from
Absolutely,
Krypton.
absolutely, man. And yeah, now we were finally where we need to be. The battles. There's so many things, so many different battles that happens. It's I guess we can just talk in general terms right now. This is the coolest we've ever seen Superman fight, or
Oh,
fly,
for
or
sure.
destroy. Yeah, there's so many cool moments that happen,
Hmm.
um, and you can tell that the Kryptonians are much stronger than Clark. The
I wouldn't even say stronger, just like he's never had to fight before,
Fair enough,
ever.
right? He is strong. Yes, you're right. You're right. He hasn't had a chance to have combat. Like you said earlier, it's his first day on the job. It,
Yeah.
he just saved Lois twice. And he saved a couple kids, but he hasn't had to fight anybody as powerful as him. And now
Uh-uh.
here they are charging ahead at him, and it's some of the coolest visuals ever. Um, and the way Zach shoots it, like he has these quick moments where he zooms in real quick to like have he really makes the audience go on the ride.
Oh, for
Um,
sure. Or
yeah.
even like just like utilizing their superpowers, like Feora
Oh,
just punching those
yep.
soldiers like in super speed. I'm like,
Oh
oh wow,
man,
just.
yes, so good. I even love that moment where he attacks Zod for the first time. He says, "You think you can threaten my mother?" And
Yeah.
and then that's when Zod realizes that if without his protection, he doesn't know how to react to Earth because he's getting all of it, stuff that Clark has already been
Hmm.
through. And
It's a
Clark,
lot of input all at once, and he's
yeah,
like,
and he
oh
goes,
wow.
it hurts, doesn't it? He has that cool moment. And then, of course, the big battle. And it's so cool, man. They throw so many things at Superman. They throw a train at him, you
Yeah,
know?
they threw everything at him. He got shot in the head. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know
I
what I appreciated too is Fiora and her. I kind of feel like there's a respect there with Christopher Maloney's character. I forget who he
Hmm.
plays.
Yeah, he plays. I forget his name in the movie.
And they
Um,
have that tagline or that line they say together. A good death is its own reward.
yeah.
And yeah, I love that. I just love it. I feel like there's a little bit of they know that one of them is gonna die, and she obviously knows that he's gonna die,
Hmm.
but they're
Yeah,
they're not gonna give up.
I think he's wagering money that he's probably gonna die too. He's like, yo, I stand no chance.
After that, that's when the government decided, you know what, he's not the bad guy.
Yeah. He came in peacefully.
Yep.
He put on the little handcuffs, even though they do nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so they forgave him at that point. And Zod begins his plan, right? I might be a little fuzzy on these details here, but I think they begin terraforming eventually. I think there's a couple scenes I'm missing, but they
Well,
do begin terraforming.
so yeah, they're so after the Smallville fight, um, they're talking about like where's because they went to the ship to get the codex,
Oh, right.
and
Yep. Hmm.
the codex isn't there, and
It's
they're
in
like, where
Cal.
is the codex?
Yeah.
And whenever like he was actually in that nightmare sequence, they got some of his blood, and they're like, some of the codex is in Kal-El's blood. And
Right.
he's like, does he need to be alive for us to extract the codex data? And he's like, no, my lord, he doesn't. And it's like, good, start terraforming
That was a pretty good Zod impression. Yeah. Now this okay, I appreciate the this is the part where they let the humans kind of do something because they keep Superman extremely busy with that machine in the Pacific or something.
the world engine
The
in
world
like the Indian,
engine
it's in the
and
Indian Ocean, Mark.
yeah,
Come
oh
on.
sorry, the Indian Ocean. And
The
I
Pacific. You
sorry,
even watched
sorry.
the movie? I'm
It
sorry.
was at the Mississippi River, okay?
Who is this guy? Get me out of here.
Oh my gosh, whatever, Antarctica. Um,
I said I didn't know.
oh, be quiet, you're beautiful. So yes, and I think in that moment, I tend to kind of turn off a little bit because it's just like he's fighting a machine, and okay, whatever, you know.
Hmm.
But it is an important moment too because he realizes his strength against Kryptonian weaponry, right? He has that moment at the bottom of it where he's, where he goes Super
Yeah.
Saiyan and
I
destroys it.
it I think Henry Cavill said in an interview that that's his favorite scene too.
Oh yeah,
And yeah, he that's his favorite scene in Man of Steel is when he destroys the world engine because it is really triumphant.
it is. Yeah,
Like for some reason, I was really tensed when I was watching that in theaters. Like, man, like I know Superman's gonna win, but this is getting really tense.
yeah. I guess
Like
that's fair to
people are
say.
dying,
Yeah, I
people are
guess
getting
for
smashed.
yeah, and then they telegraph it where it's going off and it's getting closer and closer to Perry and the woman that's stuck that he's trying to save, and I appreciate it for that fact. It's just I guess you get with these superhero movies, they always have to have something that they some machine that doesn't really have stakes. I guess it does have stakes. I don't know how to explain it. It feels like a longer scene, I guess, than what it
I,
is. It,
you telling me it doesn't have stakes, Mark Anthony? If you were in Metropolis, be like, I've seen it. All right, just
okay,
I don't
okay,
know.
that's a
What
wrong.
else you got?
That's a
What else?
wrong choice of words. I guess I was ready for the Zod fight. Maybe already. I was just like, okay, we already had a big epic fight, and now he's fighting a machine. But whatever. I love it. Okay, I take it all back. I take it all
No,
back.
you don't.
Yeah,
No,
I do. He saves the people of Metropolis, and we don't know if it's having any impact on anywhere else. But um, yes, he's triumphant. He's amazing. I love him. Uh, and then, of course, Christopher Maloney gets his revenge on Fiora, who also has another cool scene where they create a black hole. Is that what they're attempting to do?
It's yeah, essentially it's a wormhole to the Phantom Zone,
Right.
is what they're saying. So they're trying to trap them all in the Phantom Zone.
And a good death is its own reward, he gets to say to her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, another thing that I really liked in that scene too, I think it's a pivotal scene, is whenever Superman does come back to Metropolis and crashes into Zod's ship,
Yeah.
and he's about to just like laser everything, and Zod's like, "Stop!" He's like, "You destroyed this ship. You destroyed Krypton," and he stops for a second, and you're like, and he's thinking about it, and you see the gears turning, and he's like, Krypton already had its chance. Like in this whole journey, this whole, symbolic journey of like culture versus home, he chooses his like Earth is his home in that moment.
Yeah.
Everything else like that. I not to beat the dead horse, but that's a choice that he made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I feel like that was really impactful. That's one of my favorite lines too in that movie. He's like,
Yeah.
Krypton had a chance, and he just does it. He's like, all right, we're enemies.
That's a great line. Yeah, you're right. There's another good line. I really like when he does successfully crash Zod's ship and is able to save Lois from the wormhole, from the Phantom Zone, I guess. Zod picks up the ashes, right? And
Yeah,
he says, oh,
I
man, I
was
had it in my
made for
head.
one purpose.
Yeah, he tells him his
Uh,
purpose, and my people. And it's Michael.
yeah, well, like he breaks it down. He's like, no matter how cruel, everything I did
Mhm.
was for the betterment of my people.
Yes, there you go.
So even though I did horrendous stuff, he acknowledges like he did horrendous. He's like, you think I wanted to do all this? No, but I did it for my people,
Yeah.
and you ruined everything. Like now I'm gonna ruin everything.
Oh man, and they tear it up. I love this fight. I love it. It's intense. It's brutal. It's explosive. Yes, buildings are getting destroyed left and right. Yes, people are probably dying. Um, but they should have known by now to run away from Metropolis. I don't know why they're still there.
Yeah,
Um,
you should have known better. All
I
right.
mean, come on.
And Batman's running in there too. Keep that.
Yeah, I just think it's so great because Zod, now it's another great setup between good versus evil. Both believe in their purposes. I guess not evil, but
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't even say good
yeah,
versus
I wouldn't say
evil
evil, but
because they
different
both think.
ideologies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's because it's wrestling. It's coming back to that first conflict that Zod and Jor-El had.
yeah.
They have fun. They're fundamentally different people,
And now
and
he's not fighting the scientist, so now he can do more.
yeah, now you can apparently, I guess Kal didn't have the same gym membership to that boxing club. Could have really
Dude.
used it.
And then in this same sequence, Zod, I honestly kind of chuckle every time he says this line. Michael Shannon's deeply talented. I'm not making fun of him, but when he takes off his armor and he goes, I've been trained my whole life. I'm bred to be a soldier. Where did you train? On a farm?
On a farm?
It makes me
And
laugh.
he's like, man, that kind of cut deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I did. All right.
That's where,
You
I
gonna
mean, come
laugh at
on.
me?
All I had was Planet Fitness and a farm. Okay.
All right. There's not a lot of. Can you find a train anywhere else? You find some good pair of tractors. I got these guns naturally.
Oh, yeah, but it makes me chuckle every time he says, on a farm?
On a farm. Like, yo, that was that one cut deep. He's like, what the heck, dude? He just tackles it. He's like, yo, that's my home.
And then this is also like we briefly talked before, but like the fact that Superman's punches, you feel it, and you feel
Yeah.
General Zod's punches, douche, douche in the air and everything, and
Well, they have like little the VFX artist made like a little sonic booms every time like his fist connected, and I'm like,
yeah,
wow. Like, and he's like just flying, like he's just zooming, like that one shot where he's punching him as he's flying, and he's
yes,
just zooming. You're like, oh my god, that's so cool.
yeah. There's that. What is that one scene too? Like where he punches Cal really hard, and he's just floating there, right? And
Yeah,
then
like
then
he's
he
like floating upside down, and
and
then
then
he
he
like, are
takes
you
him
talking?
up to space to
Yeah,
go destroy Wayne's satellite,
yeah.
Wayne Enterprises satellite.
Yeah, his seventh satellite. Now he only has six.
It was a missed opportunity for him to say that, huh? Because he says he has six satellites, huh? He could have said, "I have
Yeah,
seven."
I had seven, and then someone. I'm not gonna name any names.
Yeah.
Is
So, and then of course, this leads to the
what?
ultimate,
What if
the
that was Batman's reason for wanting to kill Superman?
the satellite
Like,
that
yo, that's a
costs
lot of money.
$2.2 billion right there.
That that was my mom. That was her investment.
I nicknamed it Martha. You killed my mom twice.
Yeah, that's why. What what's going on?
This all leads to the extremely divisive sequence that honestly I completely feel like it's justifiable. Um, the snapping of Zod's neck.
I whenever I first saw this, I it took me out. Uh, I did not like it whenever it first happened
Mm,
because I was like, that's not Superman. Like that's not.
right.
Everyone has like their Superman, you know. And I was like, that's the one rule: Superman does not kill. Like he just does not. He doesn't do it. Like people feel that way about Batman, and it took me some time to get over it. I was like, man, like I remember leaving the theater after that happened,
Hmm.
like just like loving the movie, but because that was the last part of the movie, I was wrestling with it. And I
Yeah.
was like, man, I just really wish that that didn't happen. I wish like he just tied a bow neatly around the situation and just like, but when I was rethinking it, I was like, what else could he have done? Like he can't, the Phantom Zone's destroyed, you know? There's not really like
Yeah.
not many options that he has.
I mean, Zod
And
didn't give him options. Zod is about to kill a family, and
yeah,
it's clearly another choice. And
uh-huh.
Cal told him Krypton has had its chance, and Zod is very made it very clear that I'm going to kill every one of these people that you care for, that you love,
Hmm.
starting with this family. And it's tragic because the thing that sells it, the thing that sells the snapping, is the fact of the amount of remorse and guilt Cal feels
And
after.
yeah, yeah.
He didn't want to
He
kill him.
yeah, it's not like he was, all right, and that was it. I mean, he's like,
Yeah,
you okay?
yeah.
It's
He
the
that
family.
scream he lets out, knowing that that's the last part of his heritage gone. It's genuine. It wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy choice. And for me, I've always been sold on it, and I had no idea it was going to be an uproar. I remember in my particular theater, somebody got up and left, and I was just like,
Really?
yeah, and I was just like, wow. And I think I briefly remember talking to you about that particular scene not being your favorite when you first saw it,
Yeah,
because
it took me some time to get
yeah,
over with it. I was like just trying to wrestle like with ideas in my head, like what else? Like, man, he could have just flown up. But even if he did, you
yeah,
know, Zai, there's nothing he can do. He can't put him in any prison. He can't just shoot him up into space. Like the rules that have been established in this world, the
yeah,
only option that he has right now to stop more death is to kill the guy.
Hmm.
And you're like, man, like Superman has to make a tough choice.
Yeah.
And he now I appreciate it,
Yeah.
even though I may not agree with it. Like that's you don't get to make the choices that sometimes you don't that you always want to do.
Right.
Sometimes the right thing isn't easy, you
Of
know.
course. Yeah.
And I think you're right. I know you're right. Like he didn't want to do that. Like that scream sells it. Like that was hard,
Yeah.
and I think it's in hindsight, I appreciate that decision and choice more just because, like, wow, someone put Superman in a no-win situation.
And I think that what's interesting is like I think more recently, probably I want to say Tenet. Christopher Nolan actually talked about it. It might have been with Dunkirk. He talked about how Zach had to explain to him because Christopher Nolan disagreed with the choice.
He was gonna have him go to the Phantom Zone with him,
Yeah,
right?
and Zach like explained to him like the kind of I guess the importance of this scene because like it or not, it does tie the whole movie together.
Hmm.
Um, the fact that he couldn't save his father, and now he has to save this family. Zod's not going to close his eyes.
Yeah,
So what's left? I have to so sometimes I have to kill, but I also feel like this is a great foundation to give him
yeah.
that moral, I guess, for future movies, right? To
I imagine like he didn't want to kill in the first place, but I
no,
mean
no,
you have
yeah,
to.
but the fact that he had to now he's gonna make sure that he never does again. Like
I I could see that, but I but if he's in the same situation, I can easily see him making that choice again.
fair enough,
Even
yeah.
though I don't think that's his go-to though, for sure.
No, no, I
I
mean Zod he was gonna laser beam that family, man.
Yeah, I don't think Superman's just killing people left and right now. But like bank robber, dead. Purse snatcher, dead.
Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right, you're right. I do think I think it does add a certain seasoning to Superman and makes him a little more complex. I mean, that's the intent
It is
anyway,
complex. Well, I mean, you have to ask that same question that he asked Jonathan. He's like, "What was I supposed to do? Let him die?"
right?
Like to that family,
Yeah,
and he didn't let those kids die on the school bus. And he's like, "I can't let this family die." Like,
yeah, exactly,
you know,
exactly.
he made a choice. That's what I just love about this movie is just like his choice to do the hard thing.
It's
Like, why would you want to be Superman? You
yeah,
know, you don't owe the world anything. He
yeah,
just does it because it's right.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Um, then we have a pretty nice wrap up after that, right? We have
Yeah.
the rumpa pum pump of the score coming in. Well, of course, he talks to Swinebeck real quick about a satellite. You want to know where I hang my cape, and you get the weird line of the officer telling, I think he's kind of hot.
You know,
But
Carol Ferris.
yeah, and but then it goes into what we're anticipating. I guess as fans didn't realize it was going to happen. I remember in the theater going, "Oh, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen?" Yeah, it's happening. He's going to the Daily Planet,
Hmm.
and that's when this is important. This is a very important sequence because they could have done it like they've done it before, but when he's introduced to Lois, she
They
already
know.
knows.
She already knows. Like, I
Yeah,
appreciated that. I was like, that's pretty good. That's pretty smart.
yeah.
I like that.
It was a
I I and I like this Clark, even though like I know like people. I don't really like his Clark Kent too much in like Batman v Superman per
mhm.
se, because it's like you're not even trying to disguise yourself. Like you just he talks exactly the same. He's still very deep. He's like arguing with Perry on on stuff. And I'm like Superman Clark Kent's supposed to be kind of like this, nervous wimp.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
but in
Fair
that
enough.
scene, he's pretty nervous, and I appreciate it. I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And then he smiles, and then it ends, right?
Yeah,
I mean, he does have a nice touching moment. I completely forgot with Martha in front of
yeah,
his father's grave.
yeah. And he's deciding what he wants to do now.
Yeah,
Um, like this is where he wants to be and where he can keep his ear to the ground. And I'm like, yeah, this is cool.
yeah,
He it makes sense why he would want to do this because he feels like this is where he belongs on the planet. Like this
yeah,
is his purpose. He found his purpose.
absolutely, man. And speaking of the score, Hans Zimmer delivered
Killed it.
one of the most
Killed it.
iconic pieces of score I've ever heard. It's epic, man. It's jaw-droppingly epic. It's a rock album. I remember how excited I was. I bought the special edition. They had a steel book of the
Yeah.
score, and I cherish that steel book. I still have it. It's just the music was perfect.
Yeah, like if John Williams' music is classical music, Hans Zimmer's music is like metal.
Yeah,
It's like it's hard rock.
it's so beautiful, and the fact
Yeah.
that obviously I love his Dark Knight. I'm gonna call it the Dark Knight trilogy because he did all three. Um, it, but to go into Man of Steel and still, I
Deliver,
yeah,
you know.
deliver and it has hope in it. It has this optimistic feel. It does have the father, like the at least the adult and child. You
Hmm.
feel it in the notes that he chooses.
Yeah, his music's very emotional. Like
Yeah,
it can really incite emotion from you, and it can pull the, the correct strings um, from you to really connect with it. And then it plays really well with any scene that you could put any song in his score with any scene and it would work.
yeah,
I feel like
yeah. If you ever want to feel like a superhero, put this score on and you, just yeah, seriously, like there's so many
cleaning the
great
house.
pieces. There's so many great pieces. What are you gonna do now? I will find him. Is epic. There's a I'm losing some of the titles, but the
I
tornado, of
think
course. Um,
flight's a good one.
oh, flight, yeah, absolutely. They're all good. Like I feel like none of them are skippable. even
I don't
the
think so.
even the demos, like because there's a second disc where I guess he labeled them demos,
Hmm.
and there's one that I love called "This Is Madness." It literally is just snare drums and bass, like
Yeah.
do 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 boom boom boom, and it's so amazing the thought process and the thoughtfulness that went into making this incredible score for such an iconic character. Like even Batman's iconic, but I feel like Man is still like Superman himself is the definition of iconic.
He's when you think superhero, you think Superman.
Exactly. That's
Like I don't think like that's a universal image that I think is in it, if not everyone, most people's minds when you think superhero.
yeah.
Like, oh yeah, red cape guy that smiles, black hair, super nice.
And he has a little curly Q sometimes, right?
It's a killer Q, got some curly locks on him. He ain't
Yeah,
no
man.
Spider-Man 3 Peter Parker.
Oh my gosh, no! Don't start talking about that. Before we finish this conversation, man, we do got to talk about our theater experiences with this movie,
Yeah,
because that's the whole point of this show is because I appreciate the movie going experience. I'm sure you do too, but it's just one of those. It's just a magical feeling, and not everyone can relate. People are excited that things are being released via streaming and whatever,
yeah,
but I am one who appreciates going to the movies because it it's magic. Like it's a place to go. It's dark. It's a communal experience, and you're going to see a movie with others who have similar interests and hopes and optimism and anticipation, and it's very palpable
Yeah.
going to the theater, and especially for you and I who this is rooted in family time. Like going to the
Yeah.
theater when your dad or mom tells you we can't really afford to go, but we're gonna try, and then you get to go.
It it means the world.
Yeah,
You're like, it's an event, you know? Like, man,
absolutely,
I'm excited. Like, it could not even be, it could be a movie that I didn't even choose to go see, and I was
exactly.
still excited, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly, and it's just it's an unforgettable experience because I think, uh, not to get too off topic, but I was listening to John Campia and someone asked him a question about theaters, and he goes, I can't tell you where I was when I watched this series, but I can tell you when I saw this movie at the
Yeah.
theater. And I nodded and said yes because that's exactly how I feel like when it comes to movies and movie theaters. Like I can tell you, oh, I saw that at the theater and it made me feel like this and the audience was like that. And Man of Steel, I think for me, I went twice, right? I saw it. I had made plans with some friends to go see it in IMAX, and it was IMAX 3D. Now, this is back when you had no choice, right? I'm not a huge fan of 3D. You had no choice. Whenever you was in IMAX, it was going to be 3D. Eventually they finally said, okay, we have some showings where it's IMAX 2D. But at this time, it
Arguably
was,
better.
yeah,
That's better.
at this time it was 3D IMAX, and we already had plans for it. But I just couldn't wait. I was so excited, so I ended up getting some tickets to go see the 2D one, right?
Yeah.
That particular night or the night before. And that experience was totally different because that one was the one where I heard the groans when Jonathan Kent died by the tornado, or
Yeah.
when Superman snapped Zod's neck. So, but I was still glowing from the experience, right? I
Mm.
was still loving it because the surround sound, the music, the fight, you could feel it. But the next night was a lot different. It was cheers, and the excitement was very, very universal. Everyone was having a great time. No one was griping about what was happening on screen. They were just accepting the story. And I admit, seeing it in 3D, as visual stunning as it was, and how much it did work, I did have a headache seeing it in 3D because I mean, look at it. A lot of it is CGI and visual effects, and
Yeah.
that's the reason why it looks so good in 3D. But then it starts messing with your eyes a little bit, especially when Zach's doing the zoom ins and stuff. So I was very happy
Well,
that I went to see it the night before, as well. But yeah, man, go ahead and tell us about your experience.
oh, uh, as I said before, like, this was like the first movie that I followed, like, since it's like Inception, you know?
Yeah.
So I was really invested in it. So I had a lot riding on it. Like, I was just excited. Like, to me, I graduated that year from high school, and I was more excited to see this movie. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't put into words the amount of anticipation that I felt um, for this movie. So whenever I actually went and saw it in theaters, and I went with my dad,
Mm.
and I went with my dad, and uh when I got there, I could tell whenever I have like a good movie experience, because if I'm having like a bad movie experience, like I can tell you my experience watching Transformers 4. Like, I was not paying attention to the screen. I was looking around. I was like,
Mhm.
this is stupid. And then, but for a good movie, one that I'm invested in, like, my eyes are like glued to the screen. And this, like, dude, I even with the Zod killing, like I was super happy that a Superman movie got made. Like I was super happy that people were cheering, that people liked him, that people like he was cool again, is what it felt like.
Mm.
Like I saw it twice as
Yeah.
well, and just to converse with people and to talk about it and him just be relevant to me, it hit home.
Yeah.
Um, I was really happy about it, and if I'll always be grateful for it because that was kind of like a cool little graduation gift to me,
Yeah.
from Zack Snyder. And so,
Thank you, Zach.
it, thank you, Zach. Thank you for thinking of me. And I don't know, like they'll always hold a special place in my heart. Um, is I think it's gold. I think it's great, and I think it was better because of the movie experience of actually going to the theaters and sitting down and seeing it in that screen. And
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you this. I had a theater professor tell me that you go to the theater to have an experience,
Mhm.
and that experience is a catharsis. And this movie is one of those movies. I know people are gonna, you know, disagree, but I find new things about it each time I watch it. I have a different catharsis each time I watch it because there's not one selective answer for any character's thought. I
Mhm.
feel like it could be any multiple choices. So no, I had a great experience, and I'll forever be grateful for that. And it was just one of the best movie experiences in my life because Avengers just came out like a year prior,
Right.
and I was more hyped for this than I was for that. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow, man. I don't even. I think that's probably the best place to finish it right here. Man, can we go see this movie when they put it back in theaters?
Sure, sure. I was like, nah.
Man, wow. I couldn't have said it more beautifully. The movie going experience is it's a one of a kind experiences that a lot of us share. A lot of us enjoy, but not everyone agrees. And, you know, um, I know that I have little worry bubbles, or I don't know about what's going to happen with the theaters. And, and to other people, they're like, I couldn't care less, right? But to people
Yeah.
like us, it's like, to us, it's like a big deal. This is for people like us who geek out about movies and love them and appreciate them. It's it's our concert. It's our buy our
It's a big
tickets,
deal.
and when we buy our tickets, it's a rush, and then the day we wake up knowing that we're gonna go, it's an even bigger rush. And the fact that, especially eventful movies such as superhero movies, like the MCU and stuff, like, you're not going in there with a bunch of hecklers. You're going
Yeah.
in there with fans. Like, you're going in there with people that invested as much time as you have.
Yeah.
They may know more than you, but still, it's like, wha- it's an incredible experience. You're
You're all there.
laughing and, yeah, cheering, and
Yeah.
it's a great moment.
You're there to share something together.
And you don't even
And
know these people.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
very communal.
yeah,
And it can happen with artsy movies. I hate that argument that like
yeah.
superhero movies are.
Oh no, absolutely. I didn't mean to make them minorities. Yes, absolutely. It can happen with any type of movie. You a lot of the times people are there to just go enjoy themselves, to experience a movie that they've been looking forward to seeing, regardless of what genre it is, whether it's horror or romantic comedy or whatever.
Yeah.
Nothing beats the experience to see it in theaters. I know romantic comedies, for me, it's not my bag, but I do have better experiences when I see it in theaters than I do when I see it at home.
Yeah, especially
You
with a
know?
group, like
Oh
if you're with
yeah,
friends,
yeah,
like
absolutely.
that's the best part, I think. And having someone to talk to about it. Like if you're leaving the movie theater talking about it, then I think the movie succeeded. whether it was good, bad, or in between. Like,
And
I don't think
mhm.
I don't. It's hard to make a movie. It takes a village.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you can get people to talk about it at all, then I think you succeeded. And I think Zack Snyder definitely succeeded. Even though as divisive as it is, Superman was prevalent, and he
Yeah,
still is.
absolutely.
And 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 I don't think anyone's saying Superman's lame now.
Yeah.
So I think it definitely succeeded, and I'm grateful for it.
Wow, man. Thank you so much. Alex Smith, ladies and gentlemen, my cousin, who I love this guy. You're brilliant. You're a talented actor. And I do want to get you some promo for, if for all we know, people are going to find you on this episode and they're going to be like, I'm moving to Austin. Um,
Yo, if you're moving to Austin, Texas, hit up Apartment Hunters, Austin, Texas, or follow me at @Alex Smith on Instagram. DM me. I'll get you moved.
Man, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for doing this. I know we don't get a lot of we don't get a lot of FaceTime, physically anymore. Not since we've been kids. So I really do love that. I love our relationship, man. I got to be honest. And I really hope that we get to see each other more often. I know we got hit with the pandemic and all that,
What
but
pandemic? There's
well,
something going on.
something you missed a little something there, buddy. Um, but yeah, like so, I appreciate you coming on here and doing this episode. And the fact that it was Man of Steel is so amazing. It's a great mic drop. And also another badge of honor. This is the longest episode I've recorded so far.
I'm sorry.
No,
Sorry
no,
about
man.
that.
There's so much great material in here and content and discussion that this is exactly what I wanted to do with the show. And so thank you again for coming along on the journey. Those of you who are listening, please follow on at the well, hold on. Let me do that again. Please follow on Instagram at the Who and What Movie podcast. Also follow on Spotify. There's a couple other ones that Anchor distributes to that honestly I don't know them. I know as long as it's Spotify, I'm cool. So, but thank you so much for listening. Thank you for following. I'm your host, Mark Denny. I'm here with my amazing guest, Alex Smith, my cousin, amazing guy. Thank you so much. That was Man of Steel. I'll talk to you guys another time.